Hi, Moon Muffins. Today we performed a type of divination known as Tasseomancy or tea scrying. Now, I do mine a little bit more unconventional compared to tradition, but if all you have is a fucking Lipton tea bag and some tap water, that is more than enough to suffice. I like to use corresponding botanicals and moon charged waters to hone in the energy of a specific topic, and today's topic was your mind. For our tea, we are using Skullcap since we are going to be reading the mind. So Skullcap is one of my favorite herbs just as an herbalist, as a domestic herbalist, but it is utilized for peace of mind, for mind control if you're into the baneful thing, and also to use for charm spells, which are kind of baneful too. But I like to use Skullcap when I'm trying to see the pattern of somebody's mind and to see what is preventing them from doing what they need to do. I use this for myself, and I'm always able to find some good answers and insight through it. For the water for our tea, I am using dark moon charged water. This is the dark moon under Aquarius recently, and I like to add activated charcoal to my dark moon water. You don't have to. It adds color magic and a protective element to it that I really like, and I just feel like it deepens the energy and intensifies and illuminates it at the same time. Just like the dark night of the moon feels that way when it's completely Vanta black outside. So this is very optional, but you can just charge your moon waters in a milk jug and it's totally fine. So I hope you enjoy this reading, and I'm going to cut right into it. That's pretty interesting, actually. Ooh. Okay, so a lot of you know what direction that you want to go in, but you don't have the resources, you don't have the support line. It looks like you have a lot of breakages in your support system, and that's collectively a huge problem right now. But you do have a lot of potential in the future. Your issue right now is your reality doesn't seem prosperous, and a lot of it has to do with things outside of our control. You know, we have a lot of mess. We have stuff on the candle, on the plate, even on the spoon, and that is taking up more time and resources in your mind than you really need to let it. Now, what you are doing is your lack, that feeling of lack and frustration. I want to do this, but I don't have the money to buy a piano. I don't have the money to buy a fancy camera, and I'm overwhelmed because I want to be a photographer. I want to be a model, but I can't. I don't have clothes. You are doing that right now. And as a result of that, you are blocking your future. And the blockage in your future isn't necessarily that I can't. It's also an undertone of, well, if this would have happened in my past, this would be easier. A lot of us go through that, and it's a type of victim mentality, and it's understandable, and you are valid. However, in order to get to where you need to go, you need to let go of that. There's clutter in this future that's not necessarily belonging there. It's bringing things from your past. You are kind of doing that. And as a result, when we do that, we kind of collectively become the same. Look, there's a sheep in there. Fucking wake up, sheeple. I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, the way that you have to go about this is to ignore the mess that's outside of your mind. You need to ignore people in your environment that you're not providing for, that you're not responsible for. People who are bringing you drama, people who are trying to get you involved in their, ventures, unless it is going to benefit you in terms of learning a trade or a tool that you need. Let's say that you want to be a painter. Unless that friend is offering to get you, a job to paint or need some assistance for a big project or a mural or something, I would just say no. Understand that sometimes, even though we have to pay bills, Even though we think it's a good idea, it's a trap. A lot of us do that. You might not be let's say you're a model. You want to be a model, right? And you got everything that it takes, but you don't have the resources or the confidence yet, but you know that you could. But somebody offers you, a job in doing something that's irrelevant to fashion or modeling or skincare or hair care, something that would help you. For me, as a cook, I always like to do things that are relevant to me broadening my experience. And for you, that is what it takes. You are not going to be able to thrive if you're taking opportunities from people that are coming your way. They're coming down here, right? Hey, this will lead me to this if I do these other things that don't apply. There's no connection to that. You want to do the thing, the star thing. And if other people offer you, a job or pay you to babysit or to take care of their pets or something, that money needs to go to whatever it is that you're needing to do. Not to pay your bills, not to make sure that there's more groceries outside of the responsibilities we have, not to, okay, well, I need this convenient thing. You don't need that right now. You know what you absolutely need, and you know what you think that you need in order to feel comfortable or numb. And that is what's blocking you. All of this clutter up here represents a lot of things in your future. It represents you succeeding. Like there's a lot of abundance right here. But also with the laws of polarity, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lack of confidence. Like what I like to do is with the center of the cup, I like to see it as a representative of the heart. And yours right here, you can see with the candle lighting onto it, there's something shining in there, but there's this kind of cloud covering it. It's partially covered, but also it's surrounded, right? It's energy surrounding you. I know it sounds really crazy and it might be unconventional to proper scrying, but that is what I see and that is what I read, and I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'll use all of my resources around me to be able to get that reading. And that's the type of mentality that you need to have in your own special way in order to make your dreams come true. Because there's money to be made out there and there's energy to have that output. What we need as humans is to have an output. Whether you're modeling, whether you're offering some sort of service that you're very passionate about, whatever it is, like when you do that and you do it with a very excited sort of mentality, you receive. That is how we get that. That blockage needs to go away. That blockage doesn't necessarily feel bad, right? It doesn't feel evil, but it feels heavy right here. Right here, it's like, man, this sun is fucking shining, bitch. Let me out. Let us the fuck out. And you want to just move it, right? But you're going to have to do the work to pick up those pieces yourself. And how you do that is by going back to your past for whatever it is that you're complaining about as to why you don't have what you need in your fruition. For some people, it's like, oh, I shouldn't have gotten married to this bitch, or I shouldn't have taken this job, or I shouldn't have done this. Yeah, you should have. You at that time felt like it was the right thing to do, whether it was impulsive or you really sat down and thought about it. Sometimes you just need to rip the Band-Aid off. And for a lot of you, you did do that, but then you kind of fucking fell off the radar doing that. You felt scared. You're not used to making big choices, and you make big choices, and now you're like, oh shit, this was so scary and it was stressful and the finish line was great, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. That's fine. So start again. You need to try it again. And when you do that, like I said, you will think less of this. Like we can look at this reading, right? And some of you are focused on all of this right here. Some of you are focused on things that are spilling out on the outside of the rim. That outside is noise. This represents to me things in the world that are really none of our concern, that we can give energy to. We can, whether it's like wars that are going on or other people struggling, sometimes you have to understand we only have the capacity to really give a fuck about 220 people in our lifetime. And we're human beings. It's okay to have empathy, but if you are so focused on this, what happens? It all spills out, right? What happens over time? If I were to leave this energy right here, right? And let's say that the tea didn't dry out. If it did, and it's most likely to, you'd be stuck. There'd be no movement. But let's say that it all fell out, right? It's just going to spill out onto this pile, and collectively we just cause more stress. We're not causing stress. There's a handful of people that are causing the majority. However, we are also accountable. Because as I said, we all act like fucking sheeple at times, and a lot of us don't realize it because we think we're on a different side of a fence or a different opinion or a different this, but then we end up just blocking ourselves, and this doesn't get to shine through. We need to make sure that we feel confident in our mind, and then you start by doing that in your mind's eye. I'm going to do a quick reading on this real quick. I'm going to put this aside. So I'm sorry if it's a bit clunky. So what we're going to do, I'm shuffling my cards. I'm not cheating or doing anything like that. Okay. You're having a complete lack of mentality. So that's the first thing. The King in Pentacles in reverse is a lack of. We're too focused on all this shit going on in the world, and that's what's happening, and sometimes it's irrelevant, and as a result, you feel like you don't have any control, and you know what? You kind of don't. So let it go. Don't accept it as your new norm. Accept it and tell yourself that it's not going to affect you. I had 2 cards fall out, and we have the Page of Cups upright, which is great, and then we have the 3 of Pentacles upright, which is also great. Now, you need to be able to focus on the things that make you happy, even if it's watching content based on the things that you want to get good at. You know, don't feel, oh, I could never do that. That's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. You keep telling yourself that, then yeah, it's true. What are you gaining out of that, bitch? But besides feeling sorry for yourself and giving yourself excuses, find people that would inspire you. There are communities online, and yes, everybody's broken, but that doesn't mean that you have to be, because when we stay in that mentality, all we do is self-sabotage, and then we start arguing about who's the bigger fucking victim. And that's not what we're doing anymore. We don't give a shit about what's going on in the world outside of having common human decency. We give a shit about bettering ourselves because that's what's needed right now. And yes, I got the 5 of Wands. Accept what the fuck is going on and come into your power. You know that you have the potential to build that house, to buy that property, to build that business, to start that, construction company. I'm just getting a lot of different types of my thing I want to do. Some of you are bricklayers. Some of you really want to do amazing things, and you see people on maybe TikTok or YouTube with fancy equipment. You're like, oh, I fucking can't do that because my bitch of a wife spent all my money. No, she's probably just coping, honey, okay? So don't take offense. So the Knight of Swords upright, we really have to strengthen our fucking constitution with all of this stuff, and that's what I'm getting from this card in particular right now. And we need to just let go. We really need to just let go of the world's problems. Anytime I have these sorts of readings and I get like a lot of Pentacles energy in reversed, it's also a sign to let go of the things that are grounding you too fucking much. We either get too spiritual or too grounded because of capitalism. And it's true. Capitalism really feeds upon us and preys upon us with the mysticism of what we do. And then we fucking get too psychotic, and then we go back to just doing all kinds of dumb shit, and then we don't feel like we're ourselves. But in reality, you are the Empress. You are graceful. You have self-respect. You don't know how to completely be okay with that, because you have boundaries. You have firm fucking boundaries if you're here. Hello, you're on the left-hand path. You've got probably nothing but boundaries. But you have to honestly let that go a little bit and just kind of breathe. Now I'm getting the 4 of Cups, and in this situation for me in particular, it's mostly like the mind. I see the mind just kind of melting, but not in a bad way, not in a drug overdose way or anything like that. It's more like just easing your mind a little bit and allowing yourself to be okay and counting your blessings. A lot of us live in the Western world. We have a lot more than most people in the world. And I'm not trying to do this bullshit like, oh, well, you need to be grateful. That is the key. we really do need to be grateful for those small things, because it could be a lot worse, but also that is fuel for us to expand and to raise our vibration to where we need to be. And when I say raise my vibration, I don't mean that you necessarily have to do this fucking dumb spiritual bullshit and be perfect and happy. No, you need to face your feelings. You need to be okay with having emotions. You have to be fucking okay with that. And when you start to realize that, you'll start to come into your power like the emperor. You will be the man, the woman, the fucking platypus, whatever it is you say you are, you will be that. And what happens is, like, we get our teacup over here. What happens when we get like the world? Well, first of all, we got the tower in reverse. I'm getting like the world energy, and I've got the Ace of Pentacles. It's good enough. Okay, but what happens? It turns. The world turns. And then what happens right here? Now all of a sudden, that shit is flowing freely. Now this looked like a blockage for me. Okay, maybe it doesn't to you and you think this bitch is fucking crazy. That looks like a lot of congestion on top, like stuck. You know what I mean? Like I can't reach it. It's not in my vortex. But then when it becomes in your vortex, it kind of feels like you can walk right into it. That is how I see it. And that's okay if you don't. That's okay if you go by the book with scrying. But as you can see, it just becomes better. And now this image, where's my little spoon at? This image right here, it kind of looks like a fucking monster. And it's not to be a vicious asshole. It's you need to unleash that. You need to discipline that monster in you and go full force with this world and what it has to offer. And see, look at now that you're stepping on all the world's fucking problems, and you can be an asshole about it, but I don't recommend it, but you're just like stepping over it. Like, I got other shit to do. I can't even fix this unless I get here anyways. Because maybe you are a philanthropist, or you wish you could be, and you do everything you can, but you're supporting the wrong organizations, or not because of your opinion, because a lot of them are fucking corrupt. Like, most charities are just fucking businesses for the elite and tax write-offs. That's all it is. So you have to come into your power. The Queen of Cups knows how to handle her emotions. She knows how to handle all of this stress. See, she can have the fire even closer than ever to her. But look, when you see that heart, it's not blocked anymore. It's fucking illuminating through those T's. And she is biting into it. The beam is going straight into the center of the cup, and she's eating it. You are eating this shit, bitch. You are like, I'm taking my energy back, and I'm going to ask the universe, I'm going to ask the sun, I'm going to ask the dark side of the moon, I'm going to ask the earth, and I'm going to ask the fucking waters for help with this. Because I will help them in return by aligning my energy and finding out what my purpose is, because we have free will. And yes, some people believe that you have contracts and you got to do this when you come to Earth and you got to save a bunch of people from feeling any sort of negative emotions. I personally don't agree with that. I think that you need to embrace those terrible times and step out of it for a bit. Don't be so grounded into it. You have the Two of Wands in reverse. You have to just allow yourself to spiritually be free. You have to understand who you are. You are not just the earth. You are more than that. Some of us are from the earth. Some of us aren't. We are more than that. So that is what it takes, you guys. I want to see if there's any other messages from Spirit about what that outcome will look like if you just kind of follow some of the advice. The Nine of Pentacles upright. You are fucking creative. You already know. You already have the answer. A lot of you know the answer to how to find your passion. And there are a lot of you who are like, I know what I want to do, but I don't think I can. Just remember to keep something in mind. Do you want to be a pop star because you're passionate about singing and touring and fashion and art? Or do you want to be a pop star because you want to be a millionaire and you want to fucking get a bunch of attention? That's what blocks people, is the desire for something that is an energetic outcome of wanting to do the path of a pop star, to wanting to put in the work to fucking go to those dance rehearsals every day and make changes to your lifestyle and try to fucking navigate all of the bullshit around you that's going to tell you you're not good enough. You like, look at every single model, every single beautiful woman and man in the world gets criticized because people don't feel good about themselves. And a lot of you have had to deal with that in your own goddamn dynamic, which makes it a lot worse. You've had people in your bloodline tell you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not talented enough. Honey, that's projection. That's all that is. You need to heal from that and understand that that's their problem. And this sounds so generic and you're like, yeah, but you don't understand. Okay. You need to just fucking take my advice. Do it for 30 days. Just do this day by day for 30 days. Like, really believe you are that person. Believe that you own that construction business. Get a journal. You need to get active. Stop going, well, I can't because of this. I can't. But then just, why are you here? I'm not going to give you an easy solution. I'm not going to tell you it's all going to come your way and you don't got to do shit. Sometimes that's the case. But a lot of that time is also an energetic imprint of the aftermath, the aftershock of all the work that you put in. Then you get those blessings. And it doesn't have to be about being good or bad, because assholes fucking get paid a lot more than nice people. But you don't have to be necessarily an asshole, but you got to be a little bit vicious. You need to unleash this inner monster. It's still very peaceful. This is Skullcap. It is the peace of mind. This monster looks kind of scary, right? It's got teeth and it's fucking eating the energy, and it's got 2 beams of the sun too. Look at, we are hitting the top of this fucking monster's head too. Its crown chakra is aligned. I know it sounds silly. And this looks like the eye to me. This monster looks like, if you saw this manifest into real life and you don't know what the fuck you were doing, you would be scared. He doesn't look stressed though. He looks at peace. He's got the energy of fire hitting him. And he's grounded by the cool earth. And he's protected. And he's part of this world. Like, the plate represents the world to me. He's a part of it. But look how much space it's taking. You're taking a lot of space in this future aspect because there's a lot of space. There's a lot of space on this fucking planet, let alone the universe. So don't let that fool you. Don't think that there's not enough to go around. Don't think that there are shortages, because that's manufactured. Understand that about your own environment, and you'll start to not respect the bills as much when you know that the power company's fucking you over. You're not going to want the things that you thought helped you cope with capitalism. I'm not saying you got to give up smoking or anything. It's just sometimes you got to fucking quit smoking to save that $100 a week so you can afford that camera. That's what I mean. You got to get your priorities straight. Or cut back on it. Like if you can, cut back to, $50 a week. And that's going to be you. And then you might go, hey man, I really want to get this camera sooner. So I'm just going to cut back to like a quarter of a pack or whatever, quarter of the amount that I was smoking, and then wean yourself down. Whatever it is, you don't need to be shamed for your vices. Unless you're fucking hurting people and violating them, then you can fuck off. But what you need is to honestly let go of anything that's not serving you. The 2 of Swords in general for me always feels a bit heavy. It feels a bit like there's this lingering, I know, but that kind of energy I get often with the 2 of Swords in reverse. And that's what I'm telling you to stop battling, because that's where your blockages go. You're going to go back to square one and no candle for you. And then you're just going to be stuck there again. And you don't want that. And now you're going to be like, well, the fucking sun used to shine. Fucking everything's... And then just start over again. Then get back up and start over. If it takes you 5 years to get that business, to get that construction business, to get that contract, do it. Oh, well, I'm going to be too old in 5 years. Bitch, there are models that are 100. Like, you can do whatever you want to. You don't have to have an idealized, like a sensationalized idea. Like, I want to play basketball. I got to be like Michael Jordan. You're probably not going to be like Michael Jordan. But you can get involved in that sport. Maybe you won't go pro, but are you passionate about it? If you're passionate about it, you won't care, and you'll be a phenomenal coach, or you'll be an amazing commentator or a content creator around it. You'll be an enthusiast, and you'll feel aligned. So if you have the idea of being the star, you're off track. You've been sold this complete lie by capitalism that's what it takes. Because we are sold, we see the star part. We don't see that Kobe Bryant used to go in and practice at 3 a.m. when everybody else got there at 6. We don't see that part. We don't see that, Arnold Schwarzenegger fucking worked out with happiness 7 days a week when he was training for Mr. Olympia. He was excited in the gym. I like to study those sorts of people because their mentality helped them with success. And Arnold Schwarzenegger came from nothing. He was from bumfuck country backwoods in Austria, didn't speak a lick of English and wasn't educated, and he was a big old fucking country boy. And then he wanted more opportunities, so he would go to the gym and he would be happy when he would work out. He would fucking enjoy working out to failure, and everybody else was struggling and not getting the same results, the same diet, same routine, but he was happy when he was working out. Everybody else was like, fuck, I can't wait to get this over with, because they're so used to doing that, working at bullshit jobs they don't like. You want to be with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones. You might, and if you have a job that you like and you have good coworkers, balance that out. Like, it's okay to, especially if your coworkers are like best friends in real life and you spend time outside of work. That is good. That is a good start. Keep doing that, and then take some of that energy with you when you go home, because some people have really fun jobs and they enjoy, their coworkers, but don't stay there forever because of that, because those people are going to move on eventually and you're going to get your heart broken. I've seen that shit way too much. I'm the type of person, if I'm done learning and it's, especially in a capitalistic society, I'm out, sayonara, fuckers. Sorry, I'm not sitting here forever not working and, working and not learning, unless it's like a mandatory thing for my family. That makes you not the star, honey. That makes you, with the Eight of Cups, that makes you not get what you want to get. All you got to do is turn the fucking cards around. Like, you have hands. That's what you do. You don't have to force it and be in denial, like, oh, I am the star. No, you go, you know what? I want to be the star, so I'm doing this energy right now. And that's what it takes. And you're going to be just fine. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for this reading. I hope something resonated with you. And I genuinely hope the things that you want to do, you start this year, because I have had this extreme message from King Belial, because I work with demonic divine, I work with infernals and fallen angels. I have close connections with spirits and I communicate with them every day. And he had told me the earth is cracking in half because it's needed, and this is like the final call, like last call, bitches. Get your fucking time in, start that thing, start walking. If you want to be a fucking Brazilian jiu-jitsu grandmaster or purple belt or something, and you're like, oh, well, I can't because I got a fucking crooked knee and a tricky hip, go start going for a walk and put yourself, you can do it. You can do things with limitations. You just are looking at the stardom. You're looking too much at this fucking shit, and you got to remember the Emperor works really hard. And the Queen of Cups that we got earlier, she's gotta hone her energy. She's gotta fucking conduct the entire mood of the castle, of the palace, of your house, of your work. You need to be the leader in your own environment, even if you got somebody else that's in charge. Don't do it in this egotistical bullshit way. Do it in a way that makes you feel disconnected from the fucking noise and the people that don't matter, and what you would do in that situation, and just be in your own vortex. Yeah, if your boss is going to micromanage you, okay, whatever. Sure thing, boss, you fucking asshole. And you can just be like, anyways, that fucking peasant employee. No, I'm just kidding. You can just say that dude's fucking stuck here. The only reason this dude's has hair up his ass is because his best friend got him the job, or he's blowing the fucking boss, the owner, and that's the only reason why he's here. And he knows this is his only opportunity, so that's why he's a terrible manager and he's taking it out on everybody else. And you're too fucking smart for this shit, and you're pissed off at yourself because you're like, how the fuck did I get in this situation in the first place? You did not do anything wrong. You were just lied to, and it's okay to feel foolish about that. But now, as I said, you take this fucking card and you force it and study the star card. What does that actually mean? It doesn't mean what you think. The star doesn't mean, look at me, I have attention. You can like Beyonce all you want, but that bitch hated it when her fucking bodyguard got more attention than she did for 20 seconds, even though she's had attention her entire life, because all she did was focus on being the star. But the star is actually fucking far, far away in the sky and still shines bright. It doesn't need to be all up in your fucking social media feed all day long. The star is actually far away at a distance, quiet, minding its own fucking business and working on itself, and then just dying. And then we're like, oh, moving right along. So that's all for this reading, you guys, and I hope something resonated and helped you, and many blessings, love and light and peace and darkness. I will see you next video.